Welcome, everybody, to Dueling ACES. Happy Super Bowl Monday to everybody.
I wouldn't say happy.
Why? It's Super Bowl Monday. Winner, depending on who you were rooting for, or, if it happened to be the winner or the loser, it's still Super Bowl Monday.
Put an asterisk on that Super Bowl.
Why?
Oh, fuck.
You had 58 minutes of one of the best games ever at the Super Bowl to be tainted by this BS call at 2. I mean, it may, even if it was holding or not, you didn't call a lot of tacky stuff in the first half. Why do you got to wait till the last minute of the game to where it costs them the game to call
that? See, you're going right where I want.
KC turned around and had all the fouls up against him in the first half. That ticky-tack stuff that Philly turned around and benefited from.
Listen, KC was their own worst enemy in the first half, and they did a bunch of dumb stuff. But this speaks to a larger issue, because I will agree with you. You now have back-to-back championship games where the Chiefs have benefited from
a penalty to give them into field goal range.
To get them into field goal in the closing minutes.
Well, they were already in field goal range. It just made it closer.
It made it closer. However, it made it from a maybe to a definitive. And my problem is not the penalty itself. Because the guy from Philly came out and admitted, hey, I was holding, I was trying. I was hoping they were going to let it go. And he even said, because they'd let stuff go all night. My problem is that all too often do they let especially in championship games, they let the teams play for 57, 58, 59 minutes. And then in that last minute, everything gets called. Every penalty gets called. And then you start the chirping on social media and the fan bases and the analysts and dumbasses like us who sit on our computers on Monday nights talking about it. Get going.
Hey, three things. I'm a smart ass, not a dumb ass. That's the difference.
We're all the same. But the point being, if you're not going to call the game complete from start to finish the same way, what is a penalty in the first quarter should be a penalty in the final quarter. What is a penalty in the last 15 minutes of the second quarter or last minute of the second quarter should be a penalty in the last minute of the fourth quarter. If you're not going to call it, then keep the flag in your pocket. Don't call balls and strikes differently in game 1 of the World Series as opposed to game 5. Don't rule icing differently. Like, they've gotten weirder with the officiating, and the NFL is the most egregious of the group.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna bring up 3 points. One, I think he admitted it because of the fact that he knew it was gonna be a whole thing. Everybody talking about the ref, and he don't want the ref to take away from what was a great Super Bowl game. I agree. He did, but yeah, like you let that go in the last 2 minutes. They just let that go. Like they do try to. I feel like that ref tried to overshadow and make it about them in the last 2 minutes, especially with the whole thing with the one ref has somebody bet on Kansas City. That don't really make it no better. The one thing I will say that's getting overlooked in all this too, though.
Where was that at?
When the
championship game for the
championship game,
AFC.
The one head ref he had somebody like place like a bet on Kansas City.
Well, the problem is that Kansas City, the play that the holding happened on, the Eagles were getting burned on that cut in and back out play. They got burned on it 2 times before that. That's why he held them, is because they had gotten burned on it twice before.
Talking about
I know I'm not talking about that though. I'm talking about the AFC Championship game.
The
Which is
AFC
another reason
Championship
why.
game, one of the referee's son
So I thought it was his
placed
brother. Okay,
It was a relative of something.
relative. Something.
brother or son, but it was an immediate blood relative, placed a bet, a very hefty bet, on Kansas City to win.
And he said he didn't know about it after the game.
They didn't know about it after the game.
He didn't have any idea about it till after the game. Bullshit.
And the
Was
last
he
thing I
the
want
one
to
who threw the
say,
flag?
the last thing I want to say
And he was
is
And he was the ref that threw the flag in
He
the
was the ref or the line judge who threw the flag to give Kansas City
the penalty
15 yards.
in the AFC Championship game, and his
Okay.
brother placed a hefty bet on Kansas City to win.
But he was the ref who threw the flag. I didn't see that he was the ref. There was a line judge who threw that flag, not the ref.
The guy who threw the flag, referee, line judge, whatever you want to call it, they wear stripes, they're referees. The guy who
he
threw
placed
the
a bet
flag
on
his
Kansas City
brother
to win the Super Bowl, getting the Super Bowl, AFC Championship.
placed a bet on Kansas City to win. And the guy who threw the flag swears up and down he knew nothing about it.
Until after the game was already over.
That's why they kept making
done.
all the memes with him and Patrick Mahomes and everything.
Right.
Like that. But also too, the last thing I want to say too is like, let's not take away from Andy Reid. He called a damn perfect second half. Second half.
It doesn't hurt that you get 14 points back to back on turnovers. So I mean,
I am kind of mad because I did say, I think on one of the shows, that I thought a defensive player would get the player, and if Bolden had returned that other touchdown, the other fumble for a touchdown, I think he would have got it.
He would have got it.
Got the MVP, yeah.
He would have got it, yeah. He definitely would have.
And I'm sorry, but they even said he caught it. He had 2 feet on the ground. I'm like, if he catches it, has 2 feet on the ground, you're in the end zone. It's considered a touchdown. You don't need to move. All you had to do was just stand there. So in other words, you're telling me you got to wait for another step for a guy to turn around and hit you, and then it'll be a.
It was basically it wasn't a football move.
Yeah.
yeah. The
But
same
yeah,
thing
you don't have to have the football move in order to score the touchdown. Mr. Bodine.
the same thing happened with Megatron. Oh God, what was it? 15 years ago?
Right.
Mhm.
Dude, he was feet down, ass down in the end zone, and they ruled it incomplete. I'm like, how?
I think if I remember that, I think they ruled it incomplete because he came down with the catch and then put the ball on the ground to get up, and they said he ain't have control of the ball.
He didn't control the football.
Like what?
Because he went feet down, ass down, rolled over, put the ball down, and got up.
Think it was
It's
a
a
touchdown.
touchdown.
It was a touchdown.
Yep.
Yeah, though.
Bo froze.
That-
Chris
At any
isn't
rate,
frozen,
it
but
was
Bo's
a magnificent
frozen now.
second half, though. I mean, Philly proved me wrong. They scored in the second and third quarter. You know, I'm like, okay.
And for the record, Jerick McKinnon is dead to me. I ever see that dude, I will punch him in his face.
Dude,
Hey,
you were given he played exactly what Andy Reid wanted him to do.
No, and you know what? I was hoping to God Carmer was going to bite them in the ass when they went for the field goal that Philly would block it. I'm like, see, you should have taken the touchdown. You should have given me my touchdown for my $200 on my bet, and you guys would have been okay.
you sound like me when it came to Jalen Hurts a couple.
Oh, dude, when I saw him squat, I threw my hat at the TV. I said, "No, the hell you didn't."
Oh, it's better. Apparently, one of the parlays was that it was a friend of mine. He made a $10 bet, and if he scores, he was giving 3.5, and having the Chiefs win, he would have won $975.
The only parlay
I
that
was
bit
like,
me.
oh,
The only
that
parlay
hurts.
that bit me, and it's my fault because I shouldn't have picked that parlay, was two of them. One was Miles Sanders, Oh, the over under on the yards.
Yeah, 'cause he ended up getting hurt, didn't he? But he came
They,
back.
they
And
rotated.
Dallas
They
and
rotated.
Dallas
though.
Goddard was the other one that hurt me. The
Yeah,
other
but
one that got me.
that dude has some hellacious catches yesterday, though. Like
Yeah.
things you would have never thought. Like, well, how did he come down with that?
I picked him for first touchdown. I just saw some tell me he gonna what's the name. But yeah, all the other ones I did good on. I did the under on my home passing yards, over on Jalen's passing yards. The over on
And I'm kind
Kelsey.
of the thing that came out last night that surprised the hell out of me was that no Alabama quarterback had ever scored a touchdown in a Super Bowl until last night.
That's not true.
That's what the stat said.
Joe Namath.
Joe Namath.
They scrolled across one of the like major like network pages too. That's why I'm like, oh wait, I don't think that's right.
Yeah, Joe Namath.
I'm like, whatever.
Who remembers the 60s?
Unless they're not counting touchdown passes,
Maybe
because Jalen Hurts ran it in, right?
he ran in 2 and then threw for 1.
Yeah, so maybe they're not count. I don't know.
So I just thought it was a weird stat. I'm like, that's kind of
Joe Namath did not throw a touchdown pass or score a touchdown. Joe Namath did not score.
so. It is true then.
Oh, it is true.
So yeah, I just looked it up. Joe Namath did not. 206 yards and no touchdowns, 2 sacks.
Which that was something that really surprised the hell out of me last night too. Was the fact that there was, with as good as those defenses were, not one single sack last night.
Yes, there was. Kansas City got the sack.
Yeah, they got a sack
first
running
out
him
of
out of
bounds.
bounds.
Yeah.
Well, I must have missed that one.
That was like, if it was like barely.
They ran him out of bounds like 6 inches short of the
line of scrimmage.
line of scrimmage, and they counted it as a sack.
It wasn't the one I needed for my my bet, obviously, because I needed Reddick to get one and Jones to get one.
Yeah, that was very interesting that this, especially for as gimpy as Mahomes was getting.
All right, I heard, and I think it's funny they brought this up, as they said they were going to drug test Mahomes today to see what PED he took at halftime, because that man came out totally different, was not limping, there was no injury at all in the second half, it seemed.
Oh, he had the doctor that gave him the shot in the ankle, not the shot in the chest.
Well, yeah, well, if it was Tyrod Taylor's,
too soon.
No, never. It's never too soon. Never.
No, I got one that's too soon, but then people ain't gonna like it though.
Oh, please tell me.
I was
Let's
gonna
get out
say,
the way right now.
It's
Go for
us.
it.
To all y'all Philadelphia fans out there, y'all know that y'all lost every major championship y'all been in. Y'all lost the MLS Cup. Y'all lost the World Series. Y'all lost the Super Bowl. I mean, you got the Flyers and the Sixers left to go. I mean,
well, maybe you shouldn't. Maybe they shouldn't be flipping cars before the Super Bowl. You wait till after the Super Bowl when you win to flip cars.
Well, don't worry, I don't think the Flyers are getting there anytime soon. So.
When was the last time they were any good?
1965, or excuse me, 75.
Crap.
Only way I know is because I got the jersey on my wall.
Cheater.
I was going to say, didn't Eric Lindros get him there at least once?
Nope. The last time they went to the Stanley Cup final, they won 74-7.
Wow.
They made it to the semifinal in like 2004 or 5, somewhere in there. Anyways, they suck. I was a Flyers fan my whole life. I gave up on them. I like the Golden Knights now.
Give Bodine a second to. He's almost there. He's almost there. He is almost there.
All right.
There he is.
yeah.
Much clearer too.
Now he's getting.
Gentlemen, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Loud and clear.
Happy belated Super Bowl.
Now I wasn't gonna ruin your thunder. You gotta turn around and tell everybody where you were catching this bad boy.
Do you have that picture?
Yep.
Well, I was at Villanova. This was a great weekend for sports all the way around. Um, Black History Month, and it was a special legacy alumni Black History Month weekend. We took in Villanova women's basketball. I don't know if you guys saw the ESPN highlights. Our wonderful star, Maddie, scored 50 buckets. And she was the first. Yeah, she's the first first college player this season, men or women's, to score 50 buckets. And so that was on Saturday afternoon. Saturday night, we went down to Wells Fargo, saw the men's beat up on. Well, we didn't beat up on. We won. We pulled it out against St. John's. Our women's beat up on St. John's women's. That was in the afternoon. Men's was at night. And then Sunday, we watched the Super Bowl from our incredible sports complex on campus. And that's the big, huge screen.
You didn't go back to Wells Fargo and watch the Flyers and the Kraken? That was a good game.
So to wrap up the festivities, we
that is a big
watched
screen.
Yeah, we watched the Super Bowl from our sports complex where the basketball complex is on campus, and that's the screen, and that's the big screen. But there are hundreds of other smaller TVs throughout the entire complex. I think you can see two at the bottom, right? Are those two?
Yep.
So it was probably about 300 students, probably about 75 alumni, and that's where I watched the Super Bowl from. So there were more Eagles fans in the room than there were Kansas City, but there were some Kansas City fans in the room because we had kids from all over the country, students, and so it was a different experience for me because I honestly, and I think G got a laugh out of this, I've never watched the Super Bowl from like a sports bar. I've always watched it at someone's home
either.
or at my home. So it's a different experience when you're in a big, huge room with 400 people. It's just a total different experience. So some of the game I don't remember. Like some of the touchdowns, I honestly don't remember because you're in conversation. You're checking out your surroundings. You're having an adult beverage because you're old enough to do so, right? Where the kids could not because they weren't old enough. But yeah, so it was. That's where I watched the game, man. It just to see the halftime show, regardless if you think it was good or bad, to see the halftime show on that big of a screen was incredible.
That's another thing I wanted to talk about too, is the halftime show.
So that was my weekend, guys. Lots of sports and meeting up with alumni from the 50s, 60s, 70s. I represented the 80s.
Did you get any sleep?
Good question.
That's why I'm drinking some tea right now, brother.
That's awesome, though, man.
Yeah, no.
It's awesome when alumni definitely from different like decades and us, they could just get together and just reminisce about the history of everything and how everything went then. Watch Villanova, 50 piece, like that's even more amazing. Like it was like something, it was a great weekend, man. An awesome weekend.
Yeah, don't mind me for the simple fact that I have a little bit of ill will towards Nova because of 18, but we know what that's all about.
I had an opportunity to have a conversation with a fellow alumni who ran track, decorated track athlete who participated in the 1968 Olympics. And most of you, if you remember the picture from the 1968 Olympics from Mexico, is when the two African Americans are holding their fist up with the glove on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of our alumni was participated in that Olympics, and he was a very highly decorated track star, and just having a conversation with him was just like, wow, what was that like? I was born in '65, so that's 3 years after I was born, and I'm like, what was it like? What was the atmosphere like? Boom, boom, boom. So yeah, I mean, it was amazing talking to some alumni who have that experience, so to speak. So
I'm pretty sure that was the same poster they used in Remember the Titans, where Bertier and Campbell ended up getting into a fight when they went to the camp.
Oh, really? They had that poster in the movie?
Because he said
Wow.
that was when they were trying to get
He says like take it down or something like
Yeah,
that.
he goes, I ain't looking at that for. He's like, I ain't looking at that for
Yes.
a week, man. He goes, you can look the other way for all I care. It ain't gonna happen.
Yep.
Now I remember. You're right. I remember it. Yep.
See, I know.
Yep. Nope. Now G knows this. But during my motivational speaking and presentations, I use that picture as a workshop / exercise, as a conversation piece. Now, why do I use it? Because most people don't really look deeply or deeper into that photo. Most people assume, which is great, they recognize, not assume, they recognize Smith, John Carlos, and Tommy Smith, the two American track stars, track runners. Most people don't pay attention to the third person on the podium, and that third person on the podium is Peter Norman, the white athlete from Australia. Most people don't know he wore the same patch, which was the human rights patch that Carlos and the two Americans wore. He was in support of human rights, right? And then most people also don't know that he was the second fastest human in the 200 meters. He didn't come in third place. He came in second.
Wow.
He was the second fastest human being in the 200 meters that year.
Yeah, the Americans took first and third, not first and second.
That would be correct. And his record coming in second, which was 20.06 seconds, held as the fastest time by an Australian for 50 years.
Wow.
Well, of course they're not going to talk about the white guy wearing the same patch because he's a white guy.
So what I'm saying is, if we look deeper, we'll see that they were all in unison. They were all in support of human rights, but also in terms of track, the guy had the fastest time in Australia. Nobody in Australia for 50 years could beat his time. That's how fast he was. I mean, he was an incredible athlete. So that record held for a long time. So I just think the little tidbits are positive conversation pieces about, instead of talking about things in the past in a negative way, talk about things in the past in a positive way, because that's a positive thing. That guy was the second fastest guy in the 200 meters, and that record held for 50 years, maybe 51. So
but eventually, unfortunately, got broken, didn't it?
Well, eventually records are meant to be broken,
right?
But it was held for so long.
True.
So, but yeah. So, what did I miss? What did I miss? What did you guys talk about so far?
Well,
I was talking about wanting to hit Patrick Mahomes in the face with a cricket bat.
Wow. So, in other words, not too much. I was going to say, speaking of record breaking, we turn around and get this knocked off the list real quick.
Oh,
LeBron now up to 38,390 is at his current as the NBA's all-time scoring leader.
I'm gonna say this. First of all, congratulations. Like that man's going to get 40,000. And much as hate as he get, we're going to miss LeBron James when he's gone. Gone. I don't think it will never be another NBA player that
I think
will take care of their body the way he doing. So dedicated to his craft. Like,
Yeah, but didn't we say that about Kobe and Michael?
no, because I think we appreciated
Uh.
Kobe. I think we appreciated Kobe and Michael more when they were here and playing. I think LeBron is in the same vein as Tom Brady in that the greatness and the success that he has had throughout his career won't be truly appreciated until it's at an end. Because I'm sorry, you could talk about how many NBA finals he's lost, but he's been to what, 9?
Something like that, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say it's the same argument for Brady. It's like, well, you've lost all these Super Bowls, but he's been to the most out of everybody.
I mean, also too though, you look kind of like like outside of basketball too though. You just look at more in terms of like LeBron James was in the social media era. Like, so his every move he did, he speak out issue, he got criticized. So Michael wasn't in that era. And some of the stuff, if you watch The Last Dance, Michael Jordan was an asshole. If some of that stuff he did was to come out today, first of all, if I was a teammate of Michael Jordan in the 90s, we'll be fighting. Because I don't give a damn. You ain't about to tell nobody not to feed me because I had a bad game. I don't care if you Michael Jordan or not. Hold on, 1. 2, you ain't gonna try to fight me because you mad because I set a screen on you in practice. It's practice. Get over it. Is what you're supposed to do.
I mean,
and 3, he sucker punched Steve Kerr. Like, he pulled a Draymond Green. Is what he did.
Oh, Jordan, yeah, with the Draymond and Jordan
he
pull.
pulled a Draymond Green.
The NBA also changed the rules while Jordan played. Remember, defenses were way more physical. They had the Pistons rules. So
but the league's never been as soft as it is now.
I don't care. You can call it soft, you can call it whatever you want, but greatness is greatness. And LeBron is one of the 5 greatest basketball players ever.
I just hate all the hate he gets.
Well, the reason he gets all the hate is because he can't stay with one team. He's got to find his next big team, and he's got to try to bring everybody with him.
Okay, but now we can say it, but at the same time, though,
you know what?
What about Kevin Durant?
We ain't talking about him.
I'm just saying that man's the king of going to teams that he
nobody's putting Kevin Durant in the top 10 list.
True.
You know what? For the first time in Cleveland aside, because they did go to the NBA Finals. They played the Spurs.
They did LeBron wrong his first tenure here.
That's fine.
He wanted so many superstars and they ain't bring them here. Like
that, but that's not the point I'm trying to make. LeBron has taken every team that he's been on to the NBA Finals at some point, and either won or he's been there. That to me is a greater accomplishment than Jordan winning 6.
Look at them teams that they had his first run. Like he took a team with Iron Newble as a starting shooting guard.
Who?
Iron Newble, Eric Snow, like Drew Gooden. These guys.
He took hot sauce in my bag. He took hot sauce in my bag to the NBA Finals.
He's definitely chosen wisely where he played.
But I think that's his biggest knock is that he doesn't stay somewhere for a long time. Like, Kobe was with the Lakers. Jordan was with the Bulls for how long? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's always going to be LeBron's knock. That's why people hate him.
I don't care.
Well, I also think that his teams have always been, when he's went to the finals or he's won, they've always been super teams.
True.
He's had by far more all-stars on his teams than any player in that top 5 list.
But that could also speak to his ability to bring stars to him and get him to get them to play together. Because as we know, basketball is the most single selfish sport out there. It is the me sport. It is the I have a star on my team and everybody else is a supporting cast. LeBron was able to bring stars, legitimate stars who would be the guy anywhere else that they went, and bring them together and get them to play with him for a common goal. I think that speaks to his greatness too. Bodine down there nodding and agreeing like I'm saying something right.
No. Listen, everything's debatable, but I agree with, I'm a diplomat. I tend to see the positives in people's points, right? Because I know multiple things can be true at the same time, right?
It's not a 100% definitive. There can be multiple truths in one answer.
Right. I mean, listen, I'm old school. I think Bill Russell is the greatest basketball player that ever played. I've never said Michael Jordan was the best. Now, if you want to get into the
Magic, me was Magic.
If you want to get into the semantics and go by word, right? If you want to use a word to describe who the greatest is, then we can say Michael Jordan was the most entertaining or electric. But he was no more competitive than Bill Russell. Bill Russell was very competitive. So people say, oh, he was more competitive. Yeah, whatever. Everybody's competitive, right? But if we go with the same, if we're going to hold LeBron James to the standard of how many rings he has compared to Michael, then Michael loses when it comes to Bill Russell.
Yeah.
Right.
It's funny too, and I knew I liked Bodine for some reason. I don't know if I've ever met you, but it's funny because I always say that about Bill Russell. But like, it's like all I've seen over social media of like the past week has been, oh, he's got the scoring record. He's the greatest of all time. But wait a minute. Nobody has ever in my lifetime said Kareem was the greatest of all time.
Thank you. Why do he get so disrespected? It makes no sense to me.
And to me, Kareem was up there at the top because I am a Laker fan, but Kareem was up there at the top. And I'm gonna be completely straight up honest with everybody. It's hard for me to have this conversation. I'm a huge Kobe guy. I'm always the one defending him over Michael, probably stupidly, but I haven't watched a Laker game since LeBron got to LA because, in my opinion, he's a black eye on the organization. But that's just my opinion because it's always about me with him. And everyone that's led the Lakers through history, Kareem and Kobe and Magic Johnson and Derek Fisher, it was team. And I am not a me guy, and I don't like that. So that's my opinion of LeBron. Is he a top 5-10 basketball player? And you can argue where he's at in that. Absolutely. I mean, he's a hell of an athlete. But it's his attitude to me that I don't like.
I love the fact that you said Kareem because to me, and every time they always talk about the greatest of all time, I hear all these names. It's always Michael. I'm like, but don't nobody say Kareem though. Like Kareem was the one who got passed for the scoring record. Like, remember Kareem had to put his pride aside for a young Magic Johnson to come in there. As soon as Magic came, it was Magic's team. Like, Kareem could have won. He could have moaned. But he just stood there, played this role, did what he was supposed to do. I mean, and you can make it. Or look, LeBron is a top 10 player of all time. I mean, the man is all-time scoring leader. He's top 10 in assists. He's top 10 in three-pointers made. And the most impressive thing about LeBron is the fact that he was always a pass-first guy. Like, LeBron didn't look to score. He like, I want to get everybody involved, and then when I need to score, I score. I score when I need to.
I just had a brief moment of panic and heart attack in my house.
Uh-oh.
The boy child is down the hall in my bedroom watching TV and helping my wife fold his laundry. And I just hear stomping and him yelling something, but he and my wife sound a lot alike at this moment because hormones haven't kicked in. So they have the same octave. He was yelling, "I'm free," and dancing around. But through the muffle of the walls, it sounded like Thomas breathe. So all I heard was pounding and him yelling, and I thought he got hurt and wasn't breathing. And I walked down the hallway. She's sitting on the bed. He's dancing. I'm like, what the hell is going on in here?
Yeah, well, at least everything's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's fine. Here's the thing. If you want to
And I agree with that too.
Jordan-
Robert Horry too. Big shot Bob, man. That dude.
I was gonna say, we got what's your opinion, guys, chiming in here.
I think the biggest problem I have with the Jordan and LeBron comparison, especially with the rings, is the Jordan did something that nobody to my knowledge has been able to do. And that's the three-peat twice. Not once, but twice.
Yeah, that's going to be really tricky to pull off.
And that's an insane accomplishment. So I think people just automatically put him as the greatest because he did that. But
I still go on record to this day. That 93 finals, if Phoenix somehow win game 6, they win that championship.
Probably.
I still believe that. I believe Phoenix wins that championship if they win game 6.
Have you ever wondered why do we have to have the great
because it's hyperbole and that's what we do.
But you know,
What's
10 years ago before Facebook we didn't have to argue over who the greatest of whatever was. It was like, oh man, do you remember watching Michael play? Oh man, do you remember watching Kobe play? Those were the guys. They were the best. And I would be happy to throw LeBron into that category all day long. You know,
Chris, I'm gonna call BS on that, and I'll tell you why. Because I've been at sports bars at 4:00 after work, drinking a beer, and some old timers talking about, how Franco Harris was one of the greatest wide receivers of all time, and then somebody wants to bring up Jerry Rice or Dwight Clark. Those arguments happened. They just didn't happen online for the whole world to see.
They happened at barbecues, birthday parties,
Yes.
barbershop, sports bars, at the park after a game or before a game. So they happen, but social media, and then it happened amongst the sports media and the pundits. But now that we all have our own phone, and literally we're all what they call the new media, right? We can voice our opinions on different platforms. And so, but yeah, everybody gets to have their voices heard somehow, some way, if you find the right platform. And Chris, by the way, yes, I don't think we've met before, but if you are a Kobe fan, you're going to like that I am literally 2 minutes away from his high school. I'm in the suburbs of Philadelphia. I graduated from Villanova. So I am in Haverford Township. The next township to the left would be Lower Merion. Yeah. So I have a little bit of a history. I used to babysit. Put it this way, Chris. I used to babysit for Mr. Irving. Y'all call him Dr. J. So there's a little bit of history with Jelly Bean Bryant.
So where's the invite?
You want to talk about sports arguments? One of the greatest sports arguments I ever heard was between Arsenio Hall and Eddie Murphy and themselves.
True.
Yeah.
Talking about boxers. Like that scene in Coming to America in the barbershop
is priceless.
Is amazing. And the barbershop that I go to, that I take Thomas to, is similar to that. It's the demographic crosses all racial lines, but it's on a Saturday morning. Those arguments go on all morning long.
Yeah. The women have their beauty salons and their nail salons, and we have our barbershops. We all have our space where we can we can, voice our opinion with our peers. Absolutely.
And you guys talk about Robert Horry and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar kind of getting the short end. The one name that I don't hear thrown around a lot in the greatest of all time conversation is Oscar Robertson.
Oh,
Yeah.
He's one of the severely underrated, greatest.
Do you ever think there needs to be like separation of time to like
Yeah.
really know? Because
Yeah.
Jordan has
Yeah.
when we're talking about basketball, Jordan has lasted for what 40 years or 30 years as being considered that. So that's like a separation of like we're looking over all this time. And maybe LeBron becomes that down the road. I mean, it took Jerry Rice a little while to where he separated, and you look back now and you go, damn, Jerry Rice was the best wide receiver of all time. I think like quarterbacks in football, like there was always an argument. Was it Montana? Was it John Elway? Like, was it these guys? Brady separated. And I think as time goes on, he will separate. Now, who knows if Mahomes will ever catch him? I mean, I think right now Mahomes is probably the guy that has a shot at it. But, I mean, until somebody really separates. But I think a lot of sports, you don't see it while they're playing. I mean, look, baseball, here's a great example. I'm a huge Dodger fan, probably only one in this group. I'm a huge Dodger fan. Clayton Kershaw, good pitcher. I've watched him since he was in high school. I'm like, oh, yeah, he's a good pitcher. He's a good pitcher. I didn't realize that every statistical category in pitching from 2011 to 2021, he led every category. He's the greatest pitcher of a generation. I'm a Dodger fan. He's my favorite player, and I didn't even realize it.
I'm glad
Watch him play.
I got to see him pitch here in Cleveland. So let me tell you, it was him, I think, and Kluber. It was one hell of a matchup, and it was so nice to be able to see him pitch in person.
Yeah.
But you have to separate yourself, and I think as we separate away, as a Dodger fan, I'll be like, well, you have Koufax and you have Kershaw, right? Like, I mean, like these all-time greats, and so I don't know. I just asking. I do think that separation of time will probably, in my opinion, make LeBron even better than the way I see him right now. Like,
I think the more and more the younger, more and more the generation come up, the more and more people will start what's name like it will be like LeBron probably like 10, 15 years down the road till somebody else compete.
Who knows? Maybe it'll be Bronny at that point, right? Like he'll pass him up.
Yeah,
I think
honestly, that person behind him, it might be Giannis, probably.
I think you
but
have
it's gonna keep going up in terms of like 10 years. It's gonna be LeBron, then it's gonna be somebody else like another 10 years. Like,
I think you have to separate it out almost by decade or generation. This, what's your opinion? Studio says greatest of all times is not this time or decade or two. I'm sorry, but because of rule changes, because of the
game evolution,
evolution of the game, but not only the evolution of the game, the one thing that we haven't brought up in all of this is the evolution of the athlete.
Right. Yeah. 100%. 100%.
Everybody can jump out the gym now.
I mean, think about Bill Russell or Oscar Robertson or even Kareem having the ability and the things that everybody takes and the workout regimens and all of the technology to use. If they would have had that, who knows what they would have been.
Can you say probably Wilt Chamberlain probably was the first like super freakish athlete, probably he run track and was like a Harlem Globetrotter and like did the long jump and like so you can probably say he was the first great freakish athlete, probably.
Hold on, why you guys keep bringing up guys from Philadelphia? What's wrong with y'all?
think of like if Kareem had the travel accommodations that the big tall guys have today. And
he still played for what, 15 years?
Something like that. Something ridiculous.
He played more than that. Didn't he come to league like seemingly what, like 70, I think?
Well, it had to be in the mid 70s because he was there he was at UCLA in 72, right? He was at UCLA in 72, so he had to be
You
figure, 18 years.
You figure even if it's a 15-year run for Kareem, you give him the modern travel accommodations that guys have today, especially the big guys.
and eating healthy and all that other
and
stuff.
the eating and whatnot.
All the medicine that you got access to now. Like,
He's probably easily got a 20 to 25 year career.
And nobody could stop this guy Hook.
that's not Hook. Couldn't nobody block you.
Perfect timing.
His guy Hook today, like his guy Hook back then, like today, they say the NBA today, you will have a long career in the NBA if you're a shooter. If you can shoot the basketball, you say you can have a long career in the NBA. Because everybody needs shooters.
You want to talk about Kershaw, or you want to bring up the Dodgers? I mean, one of the greatest statistical pitchers of all time, and Nolan Ryan modeled his pitching game after Sandy Koufax.
Oh yeah, no, Koufax is a driving force behind most of the modern day pitching, and just the things he did and the regimen that he had and all the kind of things that he went. You guys can't see it, but like the whole right where this pillar is, everything back that way for like 5 rows is all Koufax autos. Like that's all Koufax. I mean, Koufax is he's just it's remarkable.
I mean, we got into this discussion. One coach on the Boy Child's hockey team and I got into the discussion the other night, but before the Monsters game, while we were getting the kids undressed after their game about hockey. We're talking about hockey players, and I said if Lemieux doesn't get non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and miss 6 years, he has better numbers than Gretzky.
Yep, maybe.
I mean, even still with the numbers that he has, Lemieux was a generational talent like Gretzky.
Mm-hmm.
And
it was a different game then too, right?
And it was a completely different. I mean,
Gretzky.
You had
who in the NHL doesn't get hit anymore?
I mean, I watched Crosby get laid out the other night.
No, I mean, and Crosby's great. I'm an Ovechkin fan, but
we can fight later. It's fine.
Were you saying the Lake Erie Monsters? Is that the Monsters, Lake Erie?
Yeah, so they do this thing. The Monsters do this thing called the Rink of Dreams, where you can your peewee, your local peewee team, they'll play in the afternoon before a Monsters game, and that the boy child is the goalie for his team, so he got to. I don't know many kids that had a better 10th birthday. Not only was it his 10th birthday, so he's getting out of single digits and getting into double digits, but he got to start at goalie on pro ice for his birthday. And then when we were there at the game later on, they plastered his name across the Jumbotron to tell him happy birthday.
Nice.
Oh, that's nice.
Nice. Well, I'm going to come cut out on you guys on that positive note. It's great hanging out with you. Great chatting with you. And
you need to come by more often. I like you.
Yeah, okay. And hopefully in the future, we'll have all you guys who secretly love athletes from Philadelphia. We'll have you out here. We can do some cheesesteaks and have some adult beverages of your choice.
Sign me up.
Yeah, but you got to get me into one of those Philly barbershops, though. Like, you got to take me with you.
That got the Kobe jersey in the closet.
He's shaking his head like they ain't letting you in.
No. That when I had hair, when I was back in school, there's a couple right down the street from there's a little small town called Ardmore, Pennsylvania. That's where every and all the athletes went. Charles Barkley, when he had hair. That's where everybody went to get their hair cut in Ardmore. So you didn't have to go all the way into Philly. You could stop right off in Ardmore. So yeah, that particular spot is still there. So all right, guys. Hey, thanks for having me on, G.
Thanks.
Good to see you guys. We'll catch you soon. All right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I can't go hang out in Philadelphia. The Flyers are there. I think that what's your he the thing with The thing with talking about the greatest of all time is that phrase is so hyperbolic. It's so subjective. I said it last week, tongue in cheek, when we were talking about Brady, officially retiring. I said, is Brady the greatest second string quarterback ever?
Oh, at Michigan?
At Michigan.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But you look at what he went on to
It's a great
do.
story to teach kids, like the work ethic, like keep working hard. Look what could happen, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, you could take Brock Purdy right now, for example. The guy got picked dead last and then turned around and put that team on his back and went on one hell of a
I'm a
winning
Niner fan. I didn't even know who he was until he started playing. I didn't even know we drafted him. I didn't know nothing, bro.
Iowa State.
I did. I was going to say, I did because we knew we were talking about him against when he was playing against Michigan.
Man. He did good, but I don't know what they're going to do next year. I don't know.
They saying he might be the starter. They saying they might run it with him.
He's got. It depends on if he has to have that Tommy John surgery.
Yeah.
The last I heard was it was something different than Tommy John. It was similar, but it didn't have along his recovery. But
yeah, they said it's something he can do. It's not like surgery, but it's kind of like
rehab,
like putting like his arm or something like that, and like
it's sad.
Kind of like therapy or something he could do, but take like 6 months though. But
it's sad that
if he don't react to it well though, then he gonna have to get to surgery though.
Right.
Well, he was going for the second opinion, going to see, everybody's favorite doctor, James Andrews. We know. Yep. We all know that it's the miracle man right there.
Has anybody checked his net worth? He's got to be the richest man alive by now.
You know what's funny is, who really put that dude on the map?
Who?
Triple H.
Triple H did. Yeah,
really?
Yeah, because he's the one who did both of Triple H's knees.
Torn quad.
When Triple H tore his quad and it rolled down his leg.
Yeah.
And James Andrews said, "You're going to be lucky if you walk normal again." And Triple H said, "Watch me."
Yep.
And then he did it the second time.
And then he did it. And when Vince tore both of his quads getting into the ring of the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
That's a funny moment.
Oh,
still ain't funnier than Titus on the other side of the ring.
Scott, no.
So I don't know.
Scott,
and it's
no,
Derek Carr that's still playing, by the way. David's retired, but I don't know if anybody sees this, but I coach baseball where Derek played in Bakersfield here. And I love the man. I know him very well. But I don't. I'd rather have.
I think he's either going to go to Carolina or New Orleans.
I've been throwing Tennessee around a lot, and I don't know. He won't tell me, but I've been throwing
Jimmy
Tennessee.
would just go nuts about that, wouldn't he?
Where would Tannehill get traded to then at that point?
Who's that?
Damn.
Believe me, I know. I had him in fantasy. I felt the same way. 1 year.
Look, I would.
Oh yeah, the same guy that threw 5 interceptions against the Texans.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Ryan Tannehill.
Hey, at the start of the season, I was screaming for what's his name from Cleveland to come over. I would have took anything at the start of the season as a Niner fan, except for Jimmy. But anyways.
See, I'm not the only one.
Y'all don't like
See?
MVP,
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
I've lived the experience too long.
See,
Or wait, I should
not
say the
only
experiment.
one.
I've lived the experiment too long. But you know what? He'll go. He's going to go play somewhere. There's nobody with starting quarterbacks. I've told you this before, George. He's the Trent Dilfer of today's football. Is Jimmy G. He can maybe win the Super Bowl.
That was bad.
But
Trent, good numbers.
but Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl with the best defense. So
Yes. Oh,
Jimmy
God.
G almost
He got
won a
carried.
Super Bowl with the best defense. You know, Patty Mahomes kind of shut that down, but he was basically Trent Dilfer to me. That's all he was.
Trent Dilfer.
I mean, compare the two; they're very similar.
Ouch. I think he's better than Trent Dilfer. You know,
I mean, he's actually not, because Trent Dilfer actually did win the Super Bowl.
True.
Behind that man. Speaking of the Ravens, go check out that 30 for 30 they
I gotta
did
watch it.
on that Ravens defense.
I gotta watch it.
How much time do they spend on the murder? Is there like a whole thing on that? Oh wait, too soon.
Never. Not on this show.
On this show,
We
come
got
on.
like 85 Aaron Hernandez.
Never on this
out.
show. That's why this show is what it is. It's never too soon.
Never too soon, Ray Lewis. Yeah, I
That
gotta
guy-
check that documentary out.
Hey, you
though.
know what's funny though? Like, people do things in their life that they can never ever. Nobody forgets about, right?
Don't stop booting him out.
I didn't. He's clicking
Stop
himself
booting
in
me
there.
out, George.
The
Knock
show
it
can
off.
officially start now.
I've been trying to join for 30 minutes and he just won't let
you
me
are-
in.
Shame on you, George. Shame
Listen,
on
if
you.
that was
No,
Suggs,
no,
Suggs
I don't think
first
so.
five.
I think
Trust me, we are able to have almost like 20 people on this grid. So don't even try.
why you trying to lock Zod out for it in, man?
Right. I've only been telling him he's been missing out for the past hour.
Go
Trying to
Chiefs.
blame Zod.
Shut up.
My homeboy.
I hope-
Rolling with my homies.
and by the way,
Don't spoil it. I gotta watch it. How long is it, Bruiser?
remember-
Is it one of them 2-hour ones like they normally be?
well, you see our friend Fishman here. That's Scott Sanders. What's up, Scott? How you doing?
What's up, man? You
You
heard me,
keep-
Bruiser?
You keep spewing off those Go Chiefs lines. I hope the heater in your pool breaks.
Rite Aid money will cover it.
You know, it's time to start looking for a summer residence anyway.
Yeah, he doesn't stay in one place long.
Yeah, I see that.
You got to keep them guessing, man. Got to keep on the move.
Poor Daniel. This kid's not going to know where the hell he lives because he's been in so many different houses.
Hour 30. That's it. Okay. I had to check that one out. It's like all the 30 for 30s. So, gotta keep the trend going.
I think it's funny. The Super Bowl was yesterday, and we spent most of the hour talking about LeBron.
I know. Like,
Well, now that Zolt's here, we know he's got the numbers and everything
He
else.
is transcendent. You're right, or whatever word you guys used earlier.
I'm just going to lead off with this. The most watched Super Bowl ever.
But that's what
Well,
they
the
said last
NFL
year.
hey, listen, don't worry about it because the officials will find a way to make it happen again next year. So
More people had TVs this year, and the more will have them next year, and it'll be the most watched again.
I think they finally learned how to count the streaming people.
Right.
Yeah.
that has been. I didn't watch it on traditional means last night. I streamed it. When we were in the chat and Adam,
I did
goes,
too.
"Oh my
Yahoo
God."
Sports.
I watched it on Fox Sports, but when we're in the chat, Adam goes, "Oh my God, they didn't overturn it." I was in the middle of a commercial to come back to the replay.
oh, my bad.
They be so
Yeah.
late with it, like be like a
It's-
30 seconds or a minute behind. Like,
It's
oh, you want
always-
to turn? Like, no, don't say nothing. I ain't watching it. I'm still on the last play before that.
It was like 15 seconds.
It's always interesting the kind of delay that you may or may not have. And
Right.
it changes too. It's not stable. I mean, sometimes it'll be 5 seconds, sometimes it'll be 15.
Well,
There
I've
was-
noticed that even with Red Zone. Like, I'll have Red Zone on the TV,
Yeah.
and I'll have like the
Yeah.
Browns game on
I
the
don't
tablet,
like Red Zone.
and all of a sudden I look at Red Zone, and it's like touchdown Browns. I look at my tablet, they haven't scored yet.
Right.
I'm like, what?
I was watching. I want to say it was Texas and Kansas State this year. I had it on ESPN on my cable box on my TV, and then on my computer. And my computer was like 5 seconds ahead of the television.
See, that's usually the opposite for me.
It's because the computer's not filtered out like TV is for the extra high definition quality that everybody's paying for nowadays.
Right.
For the broadcast. So,
All right. Since I got to know now that he's here, how much did you win last night? Anything?
I don't like to. I don't like to throw numbers out.
So he won.
Oh yeah, he's only in the stats man. It's like,
You don't have to throw out numbers. You can just say yes or no.
I did okay. I had Chiefs straight up. I had Chiefs winning the Super Bowl from preseason, and I had anytime touchdowns for Kelsey, Hurts, and Pacheco, and all of them hit.
I don't like it anymore.
Did you win? Did you win north of 5 bills last night?
No, dude, I
More than a Rite Aid paycheck?
It is literally
well, that's easy to turn around and win. That's really
Adam, let's be honest here. You could go donate plasma for more than a Rite Aid paycheck.
Well,
that's very true. Very true. Coming from a former.
I bet for fun. Yes, I do place bets. They are nickels and dimes, and they're nothing. Don't even.
Don't let him lie to you. He won enough money to pay for the next residence they're going to move to.
That's right. I was going to say that's we'll know in a few months.
That's the down payment.
We'll see the new place.
I mean, it may be larger than what I was anticipating beforehand.
Yeah, like I said, when you texted us in the group chat asking about bets, I hadn't had a bet. You texted that, and all of a sudden now I'm on the parlays. I'm looking, and I put my bet on 2 of them. And I told these guys before you got on, I ever see Jerick McKinnon walking down the street, I am punching him in his face.
I was this close to punching a ticket on McKinnon too, and then I'm like, nah, I already got 3 guys scoring a touchdown, and I really don't know how high scoring this game's going to be.
Right.
So I'm just going to call it.
McKinnon. I ain't gonna lie.
He's just one of those guys though that I could see him scoring in a Super Bowl. Like he'll get like 5 carries and 2 of them will be touchdowns.
Right.
Yeah, I thought that was going to happen on the Niners the last 2 years, but he didn't make it out of preseason either year. So, sucked for us. Worked for Kansas City, I guess.
Well, Kansas City had some great field position last night, and they really didn't have to do a whole lot. I mean, not to steal Zolt's cue, but Mahomes 182 yards, Kelsey 81.
I took the under.
Yep, 76 on the rushing. Yeah, they didn't have to go far. So
what was the over under on Mahomes yards?
I just saw
212.
Like 2.
I was gonna say I thought it was
215, something like that. I think.
Okay, yeah. I thought it was closer because I wondered at the end of the game when he was dropping back like 4 or 5 yards to take a knee, and I was wondering if like he screwed anybody out of the yards because he lost like 10 or 12 yards in that those knees that he took at the end. And I was like, that would have been a story.
Oh, that's if somebody would have put the rushing yards on him.
That would have been on the that would have been on the Scott Van Pelt show, like that beat.
I'm trying to remember. That happened recently. That happened this playoffs where somebody's rushing yards went from over to under by taking a knee in the fourth quarter. It might have been Mahomes in the previous round, to be honest.
And you hate that too, because you just know. It's like, oh God, he's taking a knee. Well, there's -1 yard in fantasy. In my grouping, it's like, oh, that's -1. Oh, there's another knee. Well, that's -2. It's like, I'm losing points. I need those points. What the hell?
Just like when he knew McKinnon was going to go down without scoring.
Too soon.
I don't. Doesn't look happy.
Hey, I was gonna say, I know one person who's very happy. I made the post on Facebook. Bryce gets to keep his hair. There was a very large amount of students. He's telling me the numbers somewhere between 40 and 50 that are either getting their, the barbershops in town are going to be busy. The kids are all getting their hairs buzz cutted, and there were about 10 kids who went for the hair dye color. So Bryce was one of the very few 8 or 9 that were rooting for the Chiefs. The rest of the class was school. Basically, there's like 130 some kids in his class. And all these guys during this one class period, the bet kind of got talked and spread out, and all of a sudden everybody's putting their hair on the line. And it's like, well, guess what? The Eagles lost, and there's a whole lot of guys who are getting buzz cuts this week.
Yeah, see, I don't make bets like that because I think I said it on last week's show. I did a bet like that, something similar on the Patriots and the Rams in the first Super Bowl.
I'll take that bet all day. I ain't got much to lose.
Everybody was going with the Rams, but I just had a gut feeling. And no knock to Philly. I'm been saying it all year though. I always said I'm like I felt Philly was kind of overrated, but. They went in there, and it just sucks, though, man. I found myself rooting for Jalen Hurts. I get it. Whole 2-year trajectory of you costing me money to me, you being dead.
And the way they were talking about, the way they were just,
I'm rooting for Jalen Hurts. I'm like, and then I seen found out then that third quarter, I'm like, yeah. Patrick Mahomes is that dude.
I get it. The dude's good, but I'm getting sick of the Chiefs already. I mean, the dude's been in the league 6 years and made it to the AFC Championship 5. All right,
6 years. Yeah.
We need some change on the AFC side.
Is this what they said about the Patriots?
That's what they said about Tom Brady too.
Yeah,
I never heard that. I don't know what you're talking about.
Get out of here! You never heard that. Oh, boy.
Look, here's my question, and I could be in agreement with you that, yeah, we see way too much of them, but I don't think that's going to stop. Here's my question. Is there a quarterback other than Pat Mahomes? You can have any quarterback in the league right now. You could pick anybody else?
Yes.
The only other one I would take is Joe Burrow.
Okay.
I would put Joe Burrow on that.
Joe Burrow.
I'd put Joe Burrow on that list.
I would put Josh Allen on that list if he wasn't in Buffalo.
I won't put Josh Allen on that list. He's been the last 3 years towards the second half of the season.
No, I'm saying it's the Buffalo curse. That's why I said if he wasn't in Buffalo, I would pick him.
I would take
him. I just roll with Mahomes and Burrow. It'll be them two.
I would take Burrow. I would take Allen. I'd even take Hurts.
Hurts has to prove it next year. That this year wasn't a fluke.
That 2020, that class.
Yeah.
I tell you what, the other quarterback that I might be willing to throw some money on or throw some skin in the game on anyway is the quarterback out of San Diego.
You mean LA?
That man right there.
Yeah,
Herbert. Yeah.
I've never been sold on Herbert. It's funny too because Herbert puts up a lot of numbers. But
you got a crappy coaching staff.
But he doesn't have a crappy supporting cast though. He has a good team.
We'll see how he does with Kellen Moore now. That should help him out tremendously.
Yep. And that's what I'm hoping for.
It's possible.
The thing with
Jared Goff,
ain't nobody picking Jared Goff.
No. No.
The problem the NFL media likes to find one or two players, particularly quarterbacks, and latch on to them for all that they are worth. And they want to make the average NFL fan believe that the league rises and sets on those two players. And to be quite honest, without that Kansas City defense last night getting 14 points back to back.
No, it was only 7.
They called the one
set him
back.
up.
They called the one back.
They called the one back. They said
It didn't
Hurts knee was
happen.
down.
He
They said
didn't.
it was down.
He didn't make a football move, so that's why they called it.
You
back.
had the touchdown. You had the strip fumble.
No,
and then
the strip fumble didn't happen.
The fumble didn't count.
It didn't count. They called it back. That's what we're saying. That did not count.
They overturned it.
They overturned it.
the defense
Right.
in back-to-back plays set Kansas City up for touchdowns. There was the stop and then the punt return that went down to the 2. And then on the very next drive, there was another defensive stop that set them up. 14 points on the board.
Kansas City's defense played very well last night.
Sure, Kansas City's defense played amazing, but you can't sit there and pretend like it was all Mahomes when it wasn't. Because if not, the Eagles are up by 14 and they win that game going away.
Hey, did you guys notice? You know when they're like showing players and they put their name on the screen or whatever during the game yesterday? They always had Jalen Hurts, but every time they put up Patrick Mahomes, it just said Mahomes. And it happened a couple of times, and I looked over at the people. We were at a party, and I looked over. I'm like, when did he become Pele? Like, when did he become Madonna? Like, that he gets to live by one name. Like,
Yeah.
That's part of my like.
They were pumping up and on Hurts Johnson so hard last night.
It's no different than Mahomes any other week, though.
No. But it was blatant. It was blatant. Even when Patrick was trying to make that comeback, it was, oh, well, we're going back on Hurts. And it's like, yeah, Hurts can turn around and he still got it. And he could turn around and get this next drive together. And it was just, they were just really pumping hard on him.
It's sickening. And just, I turned when they went
It's
up
no worse
30,
than Brady. It's no worse than Brady.
I didn't say it was. I never said it was. That bothered the shit out of me too.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The
Where's that mute button at?
but the amount of time spent talking about one player simply because of the position he plays, and I'll give you, he's a good one, but let's not pretend that team is solely successful just because of him. He's not Peyton Manning. The Indianapolis Colts in the early 2000s and even in the Super Bowl they won were successful because of Peyton Manning and no other reason.
You know who I honestly think, and we were talking about last night, the best player on Kansas City was last night was your backup tight end. He made 2 or 3 clutch catches, and he stopped. The reason that Philly didn't have 2 or 3 sacks on Patrick Mahomes was that guy. I think it was Watson.
Yeah, 84 or something.
Yeah, 84.
Yeah.
That guy. I mean, if you were watching the game knowing football and not just watching the Super Bowl, that guy played out of his mind.
Yes, he did.
Blocking tight ends are so underutilized in the NFL today.
But
Right.
That's one reason.
That's
That's one reason I love Kittle so much. Because
But
Kittle
he
was
had 2
tight
first
end.
down clutch catches too. As a blocking tight end, he had 2 clutch first down catches
Yeah.
on top of that. So it was like, wow. I mean, you always got to have that guy that nobody knows who they are. That makes.
But it's crazy though because it's been like that kind of all season with him now. Like when you watch like the Chiefs games and it's like it's always he either have like a long catch like 50-something yards and like or it just be like 3 catches but they be like 3 for like 8 yards but they be like inside the red zone. And then Kelsey usually just finish it off. Usually. But yeah, though. But
I will say,
you guys won't be throwing too.
I will say I like the fact that I love the difference between, since it was a big hype up with the Kelsey brothers, the difference in the attire coming into the stadium for the game is how, like, Jason kind of just had the old, just a t-shirt and a pair of shorts, and then Travis went the whole route of like being all decked out. But did you catch the shirt that Jason had on? Cleveland Heights Tigers.
I tell you what cracked me up was was reading Twitter after the Super Bowl, and when they were, DeMar Hamlin was there last night. I thought that was awesome. But to watch Adrian Peterson just go after DeMar Hamlin for the jacket that he wore,
I get it, though.
I don't give a shit. Keep your opinion to yourself, man. Nobody cares about your dumb religion. You don't need to tweet about it and tear a guy down over something. Nobody cares.
You'd be surprised how many people care more than you think.
And then say something to him privately.
You know what was shocking to me last night? Probably the most shocking thing was Dak Prescott made it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say I saw that too. I was like, hey.
Well, if you want to fine, if you want to go that route, then Joe Thomas did too.
Yep. I was gonna say Joe Thomas did too. Yep.
Speaking of which, oh my God. Thank you for giving me such a really good laugh.
This is when you time to boot him.
Friday morning, George. The fact that went so far over was great.
I was like, I looked at all of your previous posting and it still made no sense. I'm like, what do? You fall and have an Akers moment? I'm like, what the hell?
No, so I heard it was it Thursday? Wednesday or Thursday. And I didn't even hear it just one spot. I heard it in a couple. Where individuals on television and on the radio were legitimately arguing that Joe Thomas should not be a first ballot Hall of Famer because he did not go to the playoffs.
Well, that's probably Skip Bayless, who's a complete jackass anyway.
It wasn't Bayless. But it wasn't the fact that those words exited somebody's mouth, no matter their stature in the sport, cracked me up because he is the NFL Iron Man. He has the record for consecutive snaps played. How are you not a first ballot Hall of Famer with that record? The only one that I didn't agree with, and I will still stand by this, is that I don't think Darrelle Revis was a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Revis Island. That's where all that came from.
Had a 2-year rental. He was locking down all your receipts.
Quarterback's a tough position to like really rank because the best in the game make it where you don't throw a pass towards them. So they don't really have any stats. They don't have a tackle. They don't have a pick. They don't have any of this shit because they're just, I guess, shutting a guy down, whatever you want to call it. But like Sauce Gardner this year, I mean, was he good at what he did? Sure.
He wasn't. He shouldn't have won Rookie of the Year.
Was he the defensive Rookie of the Year with literally having zero stats?
Nope.
I mean, it's hard to say, right? Because I mean,
Aiden got robbed.
I do think Aiden.
Yeah,
got robbed, but,
I agree with that.
But I mean, I'm a Michigan fan, so but,
I'm not nice to agree with it.
What do you have, like 9.5 sacks his rookie year? I mean, come on.
crazy.
I don't know. I ain't followed the Lions, so I don't know what that.
And he sang at the award ceremony. I mean, it was pretty awesome.
To steal from Zolt, Darrelle Revis had a total of 494 tackles, 408 solo tackles, 86 assisted tackles, 2 sacks, 6 forced fumbles, 11 fumble recoveries for 28 yards, 29 interceptions for 466 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 139 passes deflected. Those are his career numbers.
That's impressive.
Some of it is though, but I mean, how many years did he play? Like quite a bit.
My thing, like, this, like,
seasons.
and I get the numbers, but my thing when it comes to cornerbacks is like, yeah, you look at his number at the same time though. He did have a 3-year stretch where literally you wasn't throwing to his side of the field.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Like he literally shut down one whole side of a field.
Forgive me for saying this, but sometimes stats don't tell the story.
No, and that's the point.
Because how do you judge a guy based on stats when his biggest stat is when they don't throw to him?
Mm-hmm.
You name him, he shut him down in their prime. He shut down Megatron. He shut down Andre Johnson. You name it, they lined up. Randy Moss when he was with the Patriots, he shut them all down.
I didn't say he wasn't a great cornerback, and I didn't say he wasn't talented, and I didn't say he wasn't one of the greatest for a few seasons. What I said was, I don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Okay, I'm gonna kind of.
I get what you're saying. I think he is though. I can't ignore the fact that you didn't throw to him.
I was going to say I completely know it because 3 years ago. Yeah, 3 years ago, Bryce was playing the corner, and he was a shutdown corner. His coaches taught him very well on making sure that he covered on that right-hand side, and the other teams would try once or twice towards his side, and then that was it. Bryce and whoever he had to cover on that side, Bryce was saying, I'm getting bored. I said, well, just keep doing what you're doing. I said, because they're not coming to your side for a reason. They know you're shutting that side down. I said, that's why they keep going the other way. I said, take it as a compliment. I said, you can be bored. I says, but just keep doing what you're doing because eventually something will come your way. Don't worry.
So going off a slight tangent off of that, what do we feel about players that are specialists, and do they deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? And I'm going to throw Devin Hester right at you. He did one thing. He did one thing, but he did that thing better than anybody else.
He also set NFL records with it.
Devin Hester is kind of in the same boat as not in the same boat, but kind of boat. Reeves, you didn't kick the Devin Hester. He literally could change the game with one return.
Same with Dante Hall.
Same with Dante Hall was another one.
Human joystick.
Yep. Dante Hall was right there. Leon Washington.
Josh Cribbs,
another one.
Cribbs. Yeah.
Here, I'll go this route with it.
Brian Mitchell.
Here, Zolt, you want to talk about You want to talk about specialists? How long did it take for Ray Guy to get into the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, that was a travesty.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Should Devin Hester be in the Hall of Fame? Yes, for what he did, because he was the absolute best at what he did.
He's got the most returns, don't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he got the record.
But Ray Guy has awards named after him, NFL and collegiate awards named after him.
Yep.
He is recognized as the greatest person to ever play the position of punter ever. And yet it took him until 2014 to get into the Hall of Fame.
I mean, he didn't even get voted in by the Hall. He got voted by the committee.
He was I think he was like a legacy committee.
Yeah, it was a legacy committee. Okay. Yep.
That is crazy though.
But yeah, it is.
I'll go with this. I'll go another route. You talk about specialists or people along those lines. Not a player, but Art Modell. We would not have Monday Night Football if it was not for Art Modell. We would not have football on television as we know it if it was not for Art Modell.
I'm waiting to hear the explanation because Art Modell had to do with it.
You know he didn't.
It was the Mara family from out of New York who did, not Art Modell.
Modell put the model together for Monday Night Football.
That was Mara.
No.
It wasn't Modell.
It was Modell.
Not Modell.
Yes, George, it was Modell. I've just watched a documentary on Art Modell because
Either way, I'm still pissing on his grave, so.
Go for it. Did he do something shitty to an entire city because of money? Yes, he did. He absolutely did.
Was he a swindling liar? Yes, he was.
The dude deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
So does Pete Rose, bro.
I will.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie, and it made me being biased. Maybe it's me being the bias. I don't care. He don't deserve to go in, on my opinion. It's me being biased. That's just my opinion. So that
you can take any Hall of Fame: basketball, hockey, golf, football, baseball. They're all chock full of con artists and charlatans and pariahs for any number of reasons. So
That's just business in general.
absolutely.
I mean, in
I
reality,
agree with you. I 100% agree with you, Chris, that Pete Rose deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. 100%.
Can't even eligible no more, is he?
Gambling is literally legal at most MLB stadiums, and yet the dude is not in the Hall of Fame. A record that will never be broken.
It's the same thing that annoys me with the argument of never putting Sosa or Bonds or Clemens or McGuire in.
This is going to turn into a 4-hour show if we go down that road.
But here's the thing. Steroids were illegal in the United States. They were made illegal in the 80s and the early 90s, right? Yet they were still legal in baseball until 2003. There was no rule in baseball against steroid use until 2003.
This is my issue with Barry Bonds. My issue with Barry Bonds is this. You didn't have to do steroids. You was killing it with your pirate numbers. You literally did it because you got jealous of McGuire and Sosa at a charity event where they was getting all the attention. I think he won MVP that year, though. And he like, oh, well, I know them guys doing roids, and they get more attention than me. So he went to the max with it. He didn't have to do it. Bonds didn't have to do it. Like, his numbers in Pittsburgh, he probably could have got it on the Hall just on his Pirates numbers alone.
But in fairness, we were talking about this earlier about athletes, old athletes and new athletes, and all the things that are available to them to use to make them better athletes. If you're one of the best players in a sport, and all of a sudden 50% of that sport starts passing you by because they're doing something, you're jumping on that train too.
Sure.
And it wasn't illegal. There was nothing wrong with it. Everybody accepted it. The commissioner accepted it. The commissioner made commercials about it, and used it to the baseball's advantage. I don't know. It literally saved baseball, right, after the strike. And so to leave him out, I mean, Barry Bonds, of that generation, he was the best hitter of that generation. There's no argument to that, I don't think.
It's not even the – here's the thing that, yeah, he has the home run record, but he also is, I want to say, in the top 3 all time for walks.
Well, I thought he was first. He's not first?
He might be.
I think he's first in walks. He had seasons where he had more walks than hits.
Hang on a second, Chris. I got to interrupt you because we've got a lot of folks that are watching up in Michigan as well. Joel just popped this up, and I was trying to catch up with the rest of this, see if there's anything else going on. But there is an active shooter on MSU campus up in Michigan, at Michigan State right now, and he is suspected to be on foot. There is one person killed so far. There are no other details at the moment. If we happen to still learn anything, but for all of our folks who are watching up there, just be aware that this is going on right now, and everybody just keep your heads up and wits about you right now.
Speaking of, you did catch our friend that used to be on the show, the incident he ran into, correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
So
kind of the same situation per se, but nothing happened in that situation, thankfully.
Yeah. Well, right now, hopefully they catch this guy pretty damn quickly.
What the hell's going on, man? The world's falling apart.
Dad, unbelievable. Sorry about that, Chris.
No,
my opinion seems a lot more insignificant after you put that up. That's just nuts, man. The way things are nowadays.
uh, and especially on campus too.
Seems like it's
Yeah.
becoming more of a weekly and monthly thing than it was. Back in the day, it was like every year or two you'd hear something crazy. It's just
It's not even weekly or monthly. It's daily. Daily.
Well, and unfortunately, that also premises our New Mexico State conversation as well, with the shooting involving their squad, and now just coming out within the past 48 hours about the hazing incidents and violations from their coach. So the whole basketball program is under full suspension right now and will no longer play any of their games for the rest of the season.
That went from bad to worse to oh my god in a matter of 72 hours.
Yeah, that was
did.
a crazy story. It's just crazy how it snowballed. And when your snowball starts with a murder and goes downhill from there, wow.
Yeah, it started with murder.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for Result for keeping us up to date on that, because I mean, I knew about the murder and then it was like, oh, I hadn't heard anything, and then like Result kept popping little tidbits here and there in there.
It's just,
and that's
one thing.
when I mentioned it again of, oh my god, now there's a hazing thing, and it's just like, are you guys kidding me?
That's just it. I mean, I'm looking at, okay, it's Super Bowl weekend. We are keyed in. We know what we're talking about. This is, the chat is 99% football. It's 100% football because we don't have Akers in there anymore. And then this pops across the timeline, and I'm like, what is this? Why did we just suspend operations of a Division I basketball team? Hang on. It's like, oh, some dude got killed. Wait a minute, what? And then literally the next day, it's like, oh, yeah, we suspended operations, but it wasn't because of the guy that got killed. Okay.
Then why?
What else?
And they found the what else?
Yeah. So, basically, what was it? It wasn't kidnapping. It was holding somebody against their
hazing.
Yeah, holding somebody against their will. I can't remember what the second charge was, and then criminal sexual conduct, and this is all against a teammate.
Yeah, it was a 3-on-1 situation on top of that. Yeah, it's just it is not good.
Is that a clean house situation? Don't care if the coaches knew about it or not. Just get rid of everybody.
I kind of think you have to.
You have to.
I mean,
all the way up, possibly all the way up to the AD. You might have to look at the AD. I mean,
in the witness report, the victim states that on February 6th, 2023, 3 members of the basketball team, whose names were redacted in the police report, allegedly held him down with him facing down, removed his clothing, exposing his buttocks, and began to slap his ass, according to the victim. He also went on to state that they also had touched his scrotum. The victim also alleges in the report that inappropriate his teammates have been issues inside the locker room at both American Roads. The victim stated to the police that he had no choice but to let this happen because it's a 3-on-1 type of situation. The victim also told the police that the incidents would usually happen in front of the entire team and that no one ever intervened. So if there's coaches there seeing it, yep, clean house. Everybody's got to go. Everybody.
I mean, it's kind of the same thing with like what the whole Urban Meyer thing. Like he knew, but didn't say something or kind of whatnot. And that kind of was the end of him.
Yep.
I mean, you got to, these coaches got to realize, like, at some point, the truth's always going to come to light. At some point.
Here's my thing, though, is that you now have all this mass exodus of players out of the program. I don't know if there's a way to put some sort of formal investigation together by the school to stop these guys from transferring. Because if they do transfer and they were the ones involved,
their
you can't.
record
There's no.
still
You can't
follows.
punish them.
No. Oh yeah, you could, because their record still
If-
follows them wherever they go. It
If
doesn't
it's
matter.
what I'm saying is, if you don't bring legal discipline, I'm talking school discipline.
Well, I think anything the school was going to do would follow them through the NCAA. I mean, in that situation, I would think.
So what I'm saying is, how do you stop these guys from transferring?
You can't stop them from transferring.
I think in a
Can't.
situation like this, you have to until all investigations are complete.
Well, they
Well,
can't
they-
they can't
they
transfer
can
anywhere and play basketball right now.
Right. That's correct.
No, because they're halfway through the season.
Right.
They're
So I
already-
mean, you've got
You
8
can
months.
go till next year.
Well, I was going to say, to be fair, their season is over. So whether they transfer now or transfer 3-4 months from now,
True.
You're gonna get brought back, period, to turn around and face charges. Doesn't matter. You're gonna get legal. There's gonna be legal precedents against you.
and
What school's gonna want to turn around and take you on when you've got that anyway?
let's for half a second here. Let's go back to the other major issue with that program. You know, the dude that got killed.
The murder.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when the police came and told the coach that they wanted to interview 3 of the players on the team, and the coach said, "Hold on, I need to know if these guys want a turf before they talk to you. I'm not going to get into that whole thing." But then they packed up the bus and left town. Not the greatest thought process to leave town. It's just one of those weird situations where it's just like,
I
what
would say-
is happening here?
I would say that coach is never going to coach again. But then look at every other coach that's violated.
I was going to say they're
and
on
they all
paid
end up with
leave.
a better job. They all end up with a better job.
Yeah, but when you have you're kind of a diversion for a murder, I don't think that's going to go too well.
It probably won't. I mean, I don't know that I've ever heard of one that was involved in a murder situation, but
Right.
but who knows? We don't know the story. I mean, maybe there's more we've heard that isn't true or whatever. But I'm just saying it's just so weird that these guys break all these rules by it. I mean, honestly, the best programs violate the most rules. They just figure out ways to get around it because that's how you become the best program. That's how you get the best athletes. And I mean, that's just who was it? Belichick that would always say that like the best coaches are the ones that know the rules inside and out and figure out ways to bend them to their fullest. And that's how you win, you know? And so I don't know, but I think of guys like Urban Meyer that just, I feel like he's a superstar since he did the violations. Pete Carroll, the same thing, you know. I don't know what's going on with Harbaugh in Michigan, but I sense that it's probably not as bad as they were saying because I think he would have left for the NFL if he knew it was going to be bad. I don't know.
So I think it's funny how
left
quiet
for
that
Seattle
got.
when the thing about the USC came out. He jet boated to the NFL.
Yeah.
He
That's
already knew. He already knew it was about to get bad.
And why does he just get to go to the NFL and become richer and more famous and everything and with nothing against him? You know, I just don't understand how there's never a penalty really, unless they stay, which they're not going to stay.
It's the same. The similar thing with NASCAR that Belichick said. You know, Darrell Waltrip said a long time ago, there are rule breakers and rule makers, and he was a rule maker. Half of that NASCAR rule book is because of guys like Smokey Yunick and Junior Johnson and Darrell Waltrip. Like those those guys knew how to bend the rules and get through it. So
You guys are fantastic at segues.
I was
You went
Yep.
right into
Yeah.
NASCAR, and then he pops up the deal.
Believe me, Bruiser finds a way any way possible to get away to NASCAR.
no, but I was gonna say,
Hang on. This is, I saw what George did, and while I don't condone it, I do admire the slickness.
I saw it.
Thank you.
It's good. It's good.
I
You got
don't
9
get-
minutes.
I don't
Wrap
get
it
to
up.
come on very often, so I just thought that was fantastic.
I was gonna say we have it's just, I mean, the other one was an unfortunate segue lead, but no, I know we are cramming down. We're at 140 right now, but it's just I know that the other Super Bowl is the next weekend upcoming here. And Adam just kicked this over and was going to share that. Says 42 cars are entered for the Daytona. 2 cars will go home.
Yeah.
It says there will not be one driver that raced against Dale Earnhardt Sr. at any point in their NASCAR series career entering
That's
Sunday's
kind of wrong, isn't it? Because didn't Harvick?
No.
Or no, Harvick was after. That's right. He was after. He's the one that took Dale's place.
That's not necessarily true, because there was a Busch race that Earnhardt was in that Harvick raced in.
Yeah, but it says NASCAR Cup Series.
I know what it says.
But they're just trying to imply. I get it. They're trying to imply.
It should be a fun race, man. Kevin Harvick's last stand.
Don't say that too loud. You're gonna make my wife cry again.
Yeah, I got a bunch of Harvick. I mean, I'm from Bakersfield. I got a bunch of Harvick stuff here that I'm trying to get rid of. If you guys are Harvick.
That is her favorite driver.
Oh, well, tell her to text me. Like I'll get her some signed stuff.
Come here. Come here.
I have friends in all the right places.
You ever seen that? You ever saw this show on Animal Planet back in the early 2000s called Meerkat Manor?
Mm-hmm.
You see them pop out of the hole and their head like pokes up and they look around. He said, I got signed Kevin Harvick stuff. I looked over at the couch. It was like a meerkat. Just popped up, eyes wide, looking right at me at the computer.
That's awesome.
Come here.
Why?
This gentleman right here, Chris, lives in Bakersfield, California, and has a bunch of signed Kevin Harvick stuff.
Hello. I don't know what this like.
He
She's
says
like,
he says hop in his DMs. He'll get you hooked up.
Don't act like you ain't done it before.
It's the Harvick signatures. That's how I get all the ladies.
And this right now would be the time to get it, because this is going to go through the roof once he retires.
Listen, that's one less mouth to feed around here.
Here I got. Oh, it's too far to reach. I was gonna. Anyways, whatever.
I had a deal going with a dude that had a signed Harvick helmet, like a race worn helmet. He wanted $200 for it.
That's a good deal.
I was getting ready to pay him, and he's like, "Yeah, it's $350," and I was like, "I'm good."
Yeah, those helmets unsigned are worth more than $200.
I mean, I'm willing to take whatever he wants to part
No,
with.
we have to buy it though.
I
So
know we do.
You just want to check the funds right now. You just didn't know it.
Check the account.
Duh.
The checkbook's missing.
Duh.
That's funny.
I know he's not going to give it to us.
Sorry, I sent this sideways. I turned this into my marketplace.
thanks, I appreciate it. You got anything Keselowski related I can give to her?
No.
That dude's I understand. Like, I understand you guys keep telling me to be patient, but my God, like, I wish he would have never left.
That is probably one of the greatest NASCAR moments in my fandom. Is sitting in the hall. Is sitting in the hall.
It wasn't. Shut up. No, we will not speak of that race.
Sitting in the Hall of
Pick the words
Fame.
carefully.
Sitting in the Hall of Fame, watching the 2020 Martinsville race, the fall Martinsville race, and go and see the points go back and forth between Harvick and Keselowski. And Keselowski finished top 5 and made it in, and Harvick didn't. And my wife crying because it was her first like real sports moment. Like watching her cry.
And then laugh because I'm crying.
And then I laughed hysterically like a 5-year-old.
I get so much pleasure out of my misery.
I'm not surprised.
Just that
One bit.
particular moment. No,
Watch, my luck is I talk all this shit about Brad, and he'll somehow find a way to finish top 5 or something this week.
it's gonna be an interesting 500.
NASCAR's the only thing I have.
I need my guy to actually win the thing. Stop finishing second. Win it. And don't mope when you finish second like you did last year. That kind of hurt me.
I really think that the guy to watch out for is Noah Gragson. Because people are, it's him and Ty Gibbs. They're the only 2 rookies this year in the Cup Series. It's 2 of them. And I think Ty Gibbs is in for a world of hurt this year.
He can't drive like he did last year because they ain't going to play.
Listen, you do that to Kevin Harvick, you're eating your front fender because that's where your mouth is going to be after he stuffs you in the fence.
And I'm still kind of curious the carryover effect from the Denny Hamlin or Ross Chastain, if there's still anything from that.
Oh, they were going at it.
They got into it at the Clash.
Oh, I didn't see that.
They were like,
they got into it at the Clash.
They're like, these 2 always find a way to run into each other. It's Ross Chastain and Denny Hamlin again. He spun Hamlin.
Chastain was right behind him, ran him right up the track and went right on by.
Oh, boy.
How do you not run into each other at that rate?
It was so funny the way they said it. Like, oh, there go that 1 and that 11 again. They always find each other.
They're like magnets. They're just attracted to each other.
I think the three feuds to really look at this year is going to be Gibbs and Gragson, Hamlin and Chastain, and
Logano and Busch.
Logano and Busch. But watching the way that Kevin Harvick raced everybody at that Clash, anybody that Kevin Harvick owes one to this year,
they're getting it.
You're like, I ain't got nothing to lose. This is my final year.
No.
So what are you trying to say? That this is Kevin Harvick's revenge tour? Anybody that he owes one?
This is
the chase, don't he?
This is the Kevin Harvick DGAF tour.
Yeah. He ain't got nothing to lose. He's out after this year.
I wouldn't.
Although he's leaving to coach his son, who's actually a pretty darn good driver at like
a lot of these guys' kids are
8 or 10 years old or whatever he is.
Keelan's 10.
And you don't want to leave that memory in somebody's mouth that might race against your kid later. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
I mean, because think about all the kids you got coming up, like, Kyle Busch's kid, Harvick's kid. Like, all these guys are doing, like, great already at such a young age.
Yeah. Well, they probably have the best of everything.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
I think I would be interested to see, though, what Truex does after this year. If he stays at Gibbs, or if Dale Jr. manages to get a charter and Truex goes over to work for Junior's Cup program.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing too is just trying to figure out who's in what car. Like, because you always got to do that. Like at the 500, it's like, all right, this guy's in this car now, and try to keep up with it all.
So there's this cool little thing that NASCAR puts out on Reddit and Instagram every week It's the spotter's guide with numbers, the paint scheme, and all that stuff. I'll start saving it and throwing it in the chat for you.
Okay.
And as of tomorrow, the Dueling Aces 2023 NASCAR Fantasy League is open. So
Zolt's look, just the slow eye creep up like, are you out of your effing mind? I am not doing that again. I just deleted the app.
we should invite Chris to participate.
I'm not up on my NASCAR like I used to be. I was a Gordon guy, so when he went away, I kind of fell off a little.
It doesn't matter. I came in what, second,
third, something like that.
third.
I'm in if you invite me. I'm always down to gamble.
The
Let's leave it at that.
NASCAR guy here.
I'm always down to gamble.
Listen,
Yeah,
I am the NASCAR guy. I came in 4th by 6 points.
I wanted to ask your guys' opinion only because I heard this on the radio the other day after the clash, and I haven't really followed NASCAR much, but they were talking about how Bubba they've turned Bubba into like the villain, like the WWE villain of NASCAR.
Oh, he read the name.
But is that like a good thing for him? Like that to me makes him more like.
The problem with turning
if he's not going to go out and win every race, does that not make him relevant? If he goes,
He's got to win. He has to win.
But Bubba won last year. Bubba won the year before. I really think he can win 2 races this year.
I just love the fact that he admit that he's petty. He like, you wreck me, I'm gonna wreck you back. I'm like, I don't.
Clint, I'm not gonna lie. I don't expect Austin Dillon to finish the 500. I don't.
Yeah. I can see him doing that too. Do a little draft and like, oh,
boom.
Look back like, oh, sorry. I think him and Kyle Larson squashed their beef though.
Yes. Well, they were friends anyway.
Yeah.
I
Just
think
a hot head moment.
I think Jimmy Johnson finishes in the top 10.
Are you racing in the 500?
Yeah, he's in the 84 car.
The 84 car.
You sound so dejected when you said that.
I hate Jimmy Johnson.
Hi, Jimmy.
Why?
I got he made NASCAR so boring with his 5 championships in a row. Like I didn't even care to watch it because of him.
That's history.
Yeah, on the wrong side.
I was gonna say they said that Jimmy is one of the drivers vying for the 4 open spots. He's not in.
He doesn't have a charter. It's an open car. It's owned by Legacy Motor Club, which is him.
Don't he get in off the fact because he's a champion? Then they do like
there's
the champion.
No more champions. There's no.
Wow.
With the
this isn't golf, bro.
They do that all the time though. Like if you were the former champion, you automatically would get in. Like
because of the charter system that replaced the champions provisional. So if you have a charter, you're in the Daytona 500. It's just a matter of where you start.
Oh.
But with 4 open cars or 6 open cars, because there's 36 chartered teams. And there's 42 cars going down to the Daytona 500. There is a possibility that we could see charter teams going home.
Well, it ain't gonna matter. You're gonna have 40 cars in the race, and probably 15 will finish on the lead lap.
I would think more than that. That car lends itself to good pack racing. The new car lends itself to good pack racing, and I think especially after the injuries and the wrecks towards the middle of the season and the end of last year, guys are going to be a little gun shy to
make a move too quick.
Yeah, I mean, look at that was what, stage 1 when Harrison Burton went on his roof last year?
Yeah.
We were sitting on my couch watching and we all went, what the fuck?
Daytona's one of them races you can get up, watch the first 20 laps, take a nap, and watch the last 20.
It'll be on. The whole race will be on.
Just waiting for the big one.
Yeah.
We were going to have a party, but George and Kelly aren't coming.
Oh,
It's because George doesn't love me anymore.
No, actually, we've got the whole perfect 10 plethora on Sunday, and I'll be coming back from Michigan. Oh my gosh, it is gonna be a long weekend, a very long weekend.
This past weekend was a long weekend, but we're officially done with the regular season of hockey.
Bryce's basketball is officially over after Tuesday with the Sailors. So
we have one exhibition game and a tournament left, and that is it. And then we go right into rugby season.
Oh, buddy. So that means you'll be in my backyard every other Sunday?
No. The spring season, they that's only fall season for sevens when they play in Vermilion like that.
Okay.
Hey, question. So I have a hockey tournament this weekend. I'll be down in Anaheim, and right next to Anaheim is Pacific Palisades, and Tigers are going to be playing. He announced it a couple days ago. $100 I can get in and actually step on the grass and say I saw Tiger play once. Would you guys do it? Because I feel like it might be a complete waste of my day, but or should you for eternity to say I watched Tiger play? What would you do?
Are you coaching a hockey team or are you playing?
No, I play. I play in a 40 over league or a 40 over travel thing.
What position do you play, and are they any good?
I was talking about Tiger. No, I didn't mean to. I'm a center.
And is your team any good, or just a bunch of beer drinkers that just go to?
This is the Anaheim Ducks annual tournament. We've won it 3 of the last 5 years.
Okay.
Wow.
So go play, then go.
No, I'm
Tiger.
going to play. I've already, I'm going to play. My question is, do I pay $100 on Saturday when I'm doing nothing and go watch Tiger, or is it a waste?
Yes.
Oh,
absolutely, you do.
No, you go.
Yeah.
I was going to say, were you ever going to have the chance again?
Yeah.
I know, and
who knows?
I still don't know if it's worth it. I'm just hoping he makes it to Saturday because I can't go Friday.
Yeah.
I got to see Magic Johnson play one of his final games in Cleveland, and I
get this. I saw Jordan one of his final games when he was a Wizard.
I saw
the Bulls.
I
was too young when he was the
Clemens.
Wizards.
Not Jordan, Johnson. I saw Magic Johnson.
No, he saw Johnson. I seen Jordan when he was with the Wizards.
I got to see Magic Johnson play in Cleveland. I got to see Kobe play in Cleveland. Yeah, absolutely go, because that's greatness that you're watching. No matter if he plays mundane and just has it.
I'm not expecting him to play good. It was more of just one of those things, $100.
I stepped on the green with Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
I got to see Tiger play. Yeah.
Well, if I make it to the green, it'll be worth it. But I don't know if I'll get that close.
Do it.
Yeah. I was going to say, I was in standing room only to see Roger Clemens pitch one of his last games in Detroit. So, yeah.
Well, I will try to get that ticket, and I will let you know how it goes.
That'll be, yeah. I was going to say, we'll have you back on again and go, hey, so how'd you do? We're just sneaking.
All right.
Did security catch you?
Yeah. Maybe that happy
Yeah. Scotty says, absolutely.
I have to go sit on my couch and figure out how much money my wife is spending on Harvick stuff.
Yeah. I got to go back to working on my platinum camos.
By the way, Zolt, I did end up beating the Capitals in 7 games.
I'm proud of you. Good job. Good job.
And then I lost to Seattle in 5 in the Stanley Cup.
Next year, man. There's always next year. I mean, just sim the year, man. You could be playing it tonight.
We might.
I don't feel bad. I beat the crap out the 49ers today on Madden. So.
All right.
There you go.
Real quick. Predictions. Who's winning this bad boy on Sunday?
Brock Purdy looking bad.
Clint, who do you got?
Oh, you already know who I'm going with. Always the bride, man. He's never the bride. I think he do it this year. He can't
Number
go
9?
back finish the second.
Oh,
he
Bubba.
Can't do it. He can't do it. He got to win it this year.
Adam?
Oh, God. I hate picking on a win without seeing qualifying or whatnot, but I get this is why we do it. I'm sorry. I mean, you can't go wrong with Hamlin at Daytona. You can't. So I'll take Hamlin.
Zolt?
He don't care.
I can't answer that question without having the app in front of me.
Since I always pick Bubba to win at Daytona, I'm gonna switch it up.
Yeah, you've seen enough of the names to just
When in
I'm a-
doubt,
That
just
was
pick number
months
9.
ago.
I'm gonna go with
months ago.
Tyler Reddick.
Zolt, when in doubt, just-
Wait. Bell.
That's not a
Christopher
bad.
Bell. Not a bad pick.
Oh, go with Chris Bell.
That's my guy. I picked Chris Bell. He does good.
Well, I'll stray off the Hamlin ordeal. I'll go with Truex. Bruiser?
Blaney.
Okay. Chris, you want to take a stab at one?
I'll go Harvick.
All right.
Yeah, be a hell of a way to start the retirement tour.
Yeah. Well, he's the only one left of the old guys, so I got to go there.
Who's the first racetrack to give him a rocking chair, though?
Oh,
Maybe Mason Marin here in Bakersfield.
Probably. Yeah, that's a good. That's where he's from, right?
It gotta be a track that he's really good at that gives him a rocking chair.
My wife,
Gotta be like
my
a
wife
Phoenix
just
or
said
something. Gotta like
Michigan,
Phoenix.
and I was like, well,
That's one of his good tracks.
my wife just said Michigan's going to be the first one to give him a rocking chair.
Michigan.
He does run well there.
Good track.
Well, we won in Michigan.
Well, we appreciate Bodine joining us earlier. Chris, thank you very much for jumping in and joining us as well. Awesome. Like I said, welcome anytime, sir. Anytime at all. It was awesome having you on today. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys.
Our thoughts and prayers with everybody in Michigan State University campus. Hopefully they catch this guy sooner rather than later. As that goes on. Good luck with everybody with the 500 this weekend. Thursday, you said Thursday or Wednesday was qualifying?
Wednesday.
It was Wednesday.
Thursday will be the gate or the duels. Their class or whatever they call them now. They keep changing names. I can't keep up with all this shit.
So we've definitely covered a lot this evening. We thank everybody who did tune in. Really appreciate that as always. And we will catch y'all on the flip side. See you next week.